Do you want to take your drawings from this to this? Hi, my name is Temi, and in this video I'll show you how to improve your drawings in just a few steps. So please like this video if you like it and subscribe if you're new to the channel. There's no right or wrong way of drawing, but hopefully this video helps you with a few tips on how to improve your drawings. All my materials are linked down in the description box, so definitely do check those out. The first thing we'll need are the normal HB pencil we sketch with, and then a 2B and a 4B for the darker values. You need a blending stump, and I've got two sizes. You need an eraser, you'll need a white pen. It's not compulsory, but it'll be nice. For blending, you can also use a Q-tip or tissues. The first thing you want to do is find a reference picture. So I simply went on Google and searched eye. I had a look at a few of the ones I liked the look of, and then I began. I'll show you the do's and don'ts side by side. The first thing is the paper. You can probably see through the paper on the left in comparison to the notebook I'm using on the right. With the initial sketch, normal common mistakes is to just assume that the eye is this oval shape and that there's a big area for reflection. Instead, it's good to have some sort of reference line and thinking about the top section of the eye in threes. So a directly diagonal triangle for the first bit, and then the next bit being a slope going in the other direction, and then the last bit a slope going down to the original line. And for the bottom bit of the eye, just to draw a curve that's kind of off-centered. Don't worry about how square the sketch might look at the moment, because you could always round it off at the end. For the pupil, you want an oval/circle, and you don't want to be able to see all of the circle. You want the lid to cover some of it. Inner tear dot is now an extension to your initial shape of the eye. And here I am just marking out some areas where I'll have the darker shade later on. Marking out 2 dots above the eye for where the lid goes. The lid is normally not uniform. The 2 dots show the distance from the eye, and it's joined up using lines. Continuing on with the don't eye, so a common mistake is to shade in one direction, and this shading technique is never good for any kind of drawing that you're doing. You always want to follow the shape of what you're drawing. This is then blended out, which isn't a bad idea, but it does create the illusion of just one tone on the eye. The outer edges are darkened, which is fine, but spokes are then drawn. So eyes do have these kinds of spokes, but it's never seen in this manner. This is extremely unrealistic. It is made to look a little bit more realistic by adding rounder circles, but overall it just kind of looks a little bit flat. The tear duct is then made as an extension to the actual initial oval shape, which isn't great. Some tone is put into the lid by simply sketching and blending out with the fingers. Now guys, using the fingers to blend is never a good idea. It just makes your fingers dirty, and when next you touch the paper, you're going to touch it with your dirty fingers and you're going to have loads of fingerprints everywhere. Not cute. So what I do instead is to think about the tonal values of the eye. I'd start from the darkest parts of the eye just so that I have a reference point for the deepest parts of the eye, and then I could work accordingly and not end up going too dark. I then sketch out some of the spokes and I leave the reflected bits as well. This bit is just a little bit of trial and error and looking at your reference picture. So I use midtones to try to get the 3D effect of the eye by just drawing light spokes but leaving gaps where I feel is necessary. I then use a blending stump to blend out what I've drawn a little bit so that it doesn't look so scratchy. I go back in with an eraser to lighten up the mid-range. Go back and forth with the pencil and eraser to create detail. Now I've used some of the darkest pencil on a separate piece of paper with the blending stump just to use to shade the drawing. This is a really cool technique because it means you don't have to try to blend out sketch lines. You can actually get values from the graphite pencil directly from a separate piece of paper and use it to shade. I use that to shade the whites of the eye. A common misconception is thinking the whites of the eye are bright white. They will actually have some shadow to them. Then I go onto the lid area and I go in with the darkest pencil just to create some tone, and then I blend it out with the blending stumps. So again, it's just some back and forth to try to create a more 3D and tonal effect for the drawing. The blending stumps provides more focused blending, but you can see I'm using a Q-tip now, which helps to spread out the blending a lot more. With skin around the lid, you want it to be more focused, but then as it goes out of the eye, you want it to be a little bit more loose, and so the blending stumps comes in handy. I then go in with the eraser to make skin-like texture above the eye. It's a common misconception to think all the lashes start from right at the edge of the eyelid. It doesn't. It's never going to look realistic like that. For the bottom lashes, it absolutely does not come from the inside of the eye like that. There's always the waterline, so the lashes are not coming from inside the waterline. For the do side, I marked up the main areas just to show the direction the lashes are going to fall in. So from the inside of the eye, it falls towards the left. In the middle, it goes straight up, and towards the right side of the eye, it goes towards the right. Lashes are never normally living in isolation, so they normally clump up together. I tried to find a picture without any makeup on, but even so, with this young girl's eye, there are many parts of the lashes that join up to one or join up and then depart again. It's never just singular like it shows it on the don't side. With the lashes, you want to use your darkest but hardest pencil. So I use the 4B because it does create really nice dark tones, but it's also still hard enough for you to be able to make defined lines. So make sure your pencils are very sharp so that you can do so. They also come from a little bit lower than the eyelid line at times. And at the center of the eye, it comes from above the eyelid. For the bottom lash line, I'm just shading in the waterline and showing how the lashes look. They all go in a similar direction except towards the inner part of the eye, and they're generally lighter in colour. They are darker at the root and go lighter towards the ends. So putting in some final touches with erasers and white pens and doing some more blending around the eye itself, this eye drawing is finally complete. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope my tips help you. If you do try this drawing out, please tag me on Instagram at temi_danso. I would love to see you drawing, and let me know what you think down in the comments. So please like this video if you like it, subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye.